Good morning, spiritual companions. Today we are reading God, the Substance of All Form by Joel S. Goldsmith. Chapter 4, Fulfillment of Consciousness. Page 53. We see our concept of the universe. Be alert to catch this next point, because it is the secret of healing work, although, of course, it is not really a secret. The lack of understanding of this point is the reason for the failure of much healing work, and it is a point that needs to be known and understood by all. We have said that God is the substance of all form, that God is the reality of all form, the substance and reality of all effect. Are we then to understand God as the substance of the body, trees, flowers, sun, moon, stars, and all that we cognize with the material senses? No, this is a spiritual universe. It is true that God is the substance of all form. God is the substance of your very body and of all creation. But remember, when I see you, that is, when I see your body, or when I see the trees or flowers, I am not seeing God's creation. I am not seeing the spiritual universe. I am seeing only a finite material concept of it. This concept is referred to as the atom dream, the illusion, the mesmeric picture, that which Jesus referred to when he said, "My kingdom is not of this world." This does not mean that there are two universes, the real and the unreal, or that there is a real body and an unreal one. It means that the only universe there is, the real universe, and the only body there is the real body. But what I am seeing is my concept of them. Therefore, the only unreality about them is in my misperception of them, in my false concept of them. When you look at any person, you are not seeing what God created. You cannot see that with your eyes. You are seeing only your concept, or the world's concept, of God's creation. Behold the spiritual universe. Catch the import of this, and you will see why there is so much lack of healing. If someone says to you, "Give me help," you should not attempt to do anything at all about this false concept, but turn away from it, realizing that it is only the illusion, and that right where the illusion seems to be, there is God appearing. When spiritual consciousness is attained, then we can see the spiritual universe, but we cannot see, hear, taste, touch, or smell the spiritual universe with the five senses. In a state of illumined consciousness, we do catch glimpses of it, just as the beloved disciple John caught the spiritual vision of the universe. However, the trees and the flowers, the forms of trees and flowers, or of anything else, are not spiritual as we see them. They are the illusory sense of reality. As you turn away from the appearance and turn to God, seeking the realization of reality as spirit fulfilling itself, then you can experience what appears to be healing. It is really the harmony of God being revealed to us, which we see as improved form. This is the most important part of our healing work. You will not succeed while you are trying to make sick bodies well. Success in healing work is attained when you are able to turn away from the outer picture entirely, recognizing that it is illusion, and turn within, realizing omnipresent, omnipotent God, and discerning the reality of God's creation. In your work, do not think of the things you are trying to heal. Think of what God is and of what God appears as. God appearing not as outlined form, but as infinity, eternality, immortality, harmony, joy, abundance. Then you will have healings. Many people who reach and strive outwardly to gain fame or wealth find that when they attain it, it becomes dry rot. But the joy or prosperity of the one who has attained them by fulfilling his innermost heart's desire cannot be taken away. The same thing applies to health. In reaching outwardly for health, even though you may attain a physically perfect body, you will not have found health. The perfect spiritual body is built out of your inner consciousness by letting it flow out from your own being and form the perfect body. In the same way, this inner consciousness can build a beautiful life for you. Let us build our heaven out of our fulfilled inner desires, being the willing vessel to let that flow through, which will fulfill whatever we were brought here to do. Chapter 5. Treatment as the consciousness of truth. Treatment is such a fundamental part of our work that, unless it is understood correctly, we cannot develop the full consciousness of truth. You will find that, throughout my writings, I have stressed the importance of the correct presentation of the letter of truth and a correct understanding of the letter of truth. When this is gained, the spirit or consciousness of truth can follow. People sometimes think that I am so absolute that I do not give or believe in treatment. Nothing could be further from the truth. Treatment is a very important part of my day's work, and it will become an important part of your work if you understand the nature of treatment. In my writings, I make a distinction between treatment and prayer, but nowhere have I ever said that we do not use treatment. The procedure in treatment to which I object is the habit of mechanically repeating affirmations and denials in the belief that they are going to do something or that they will heal something. There is a difference between treatment and affirmation and denial. When an affirmation or denial is repeated over and over again, it becomes hypnotic, mere suggestion, and even when it produces results, it has not brought about a spiritual healing, but only a mental healing. These are two entirely different things. Mental healing is similar to physical healing. There may be a cure today, but tomorrow, next week, or next year, the condition may return. The condition has only been suggestionized out of thought, and it is just as easy to receive a suggestion that will produce the condition as to receive a suggestion that will cure it. Establish the truth of being in consciousness. The infinite way form of treatment is not meant to cure anything, nor to act upon thought as a suggestion of health until thought responds and says, "I am well." Our form of treatment is more a rehearsal of the truth of being, a translation of material or mental belief into the realization of the spiritual truth. The words we speak or the thoughts we think do not constitute the healing power, but they are the step that will lift us up into the consciousness which does the healing work. From the moment we awaken in the morning until rest comes at night, we are meeting with suggestions from the world of sin, disease, lack, limitation, and finally death. There does not seem to be an hour during the day which is not filled with suggestions coming from the radio or the newspapers. Even if we do not read the newspapers or listen to the radio, these suggestions are in the air, finding lodgment in our thought. They seem to come to us almost faster than we can reject or refute them. Therefore, at the beginning of our ministry, at the beginning of our practice of this spiritual life, it is necessary that we make a conscious effort to refute these arguments or suggestions, not, however, in the sense of denial or saying that they do not exist, or of repeating over and over that they are not real. Let us refute them in the light of pondering spiritual truth. After years of practice and of meditation and realization, there comes a time when it is no more necessary to go around refuting human suggestions than it is necessary to go around declaring that 12 times 12 are 144. After we have been through elementary school and have memorized the multiplication table and have arrived at a certain point of development, we no longer need to go around reciting the multiplication table. Whenever we need the answer to a mathematical problem, it is instantly available. So in this, when we are faced with a problem, whether our own or that of a patient, friend, relative, or even of the nation or world, the answer is instantly available. But it is only after many, many years of pondering spiritual truths and years of practice in refuting the suggestions that come to us and finding the answer to them that we can finally say, I do not have to spend much time in the ordinary sense of treatment, or it is just as easy to take care of 100 patients in a day as it is 12. Let us understand this subject of treatment. Over and over again, I have said that we do not need to know the name of the patient. That is true. At no point, even in the earliest stages of practice, do we need to know the name or even the identity of the patient. If someone calls for help, we can give it without knowing who it is that is calling. Or if someone calls for help for another, we do not have to ask who wants the help, or even what the nature of the claim is. End of that section. End of today's reading. A blessed day to you.